So you go to one of those big name chain pharmacies to have your prescription filled. The price is right, the hours are convenient, but who is that person behind the counter? And are you getting the prescription that your doctor ordered?
Those are the crucial questions that we set out to answer. Chief Investigative Correspondent Brian Ross exposes potentially dangerous errors happening at the pharmacies millions of people use. Errors that sometimes have devastating consequences. Don't let this happen to you. Tonight, we go undercover and name names.
I went to Walgreens, which was right near our house. I dropped the prescription off, went and picked it up later that day, came home and gave her her first dose.
It was supposed to be a dose of phenobarbital, a precaution to prevent seizures in Tracy Gerke's 7-month-old daughter Alexandra, who had been born premature.
It would go in her bottle, she'd drink it, and wouldn't even know she had the medication.
But it was not phenobarbital. The Walgreens pharmacist mistakenly filled the bottle with another small white pill. It was a powerful medicine for adult diabetes, as indicated by the distinct markings on the pill, markings the busy pharmacist apparently missed.
Yeah, okay, let's go.
Today, Alexandra cannot talk, walk, or feed herself. The pills from Walgreens that her mother put in her bottle didn't prevent seizures in Alexandra, they caused them and led to a devastating brain injury.
I was poisoning her for 7 weeks, and I still try not to feel guilty about it, but how can you not? I was poisoning my baby and I didn't know it.
Alexandra's case is just one of what some fear is an unreported epidemic of pharmacy errors at this country's fast-growing chain drugstores.
This is about bottom line, bottom line, bottom line, bottom line.
Next on line, please.
As we found in a 4-month 2020 investigation, overworked pharmacists are pushed to fill prescriptions at a fast food-like pace.
It's get them out, get them out, get them out.
Many prescriptions are filled not by pharmacists, but by pharmacy technicians, who often are just high school students.
The reality is, you don't know who's back there.
And our own 2020 undercover cameras found a shocking rate of everyday errors.
Can I ring this up also?
Yes.
A failure to spot potentially dangerous drug interactions.
What am I signing?
Saying that you picked this up.
And customers signing away the right to get information about their prescriptions without realizing it.
You know, we are dealing with much more powerful drugs than we did 10, 15 years ago. And even though these drugs have the potential to do much more good, they also have the potential to harm.
All of this comes at a time when the big drugstore chains are making record profits.
CVS is doing very well. We are the #1 nation's drugstore. We are opening up about 400 stores a year. Comes out to about a store every 19 hours.
But at this month's big pharmacist convention, no one wanted to talk about questions of pharmacy errors.
And unfortunately, we have to decline.
And 2020 producer Rhonda Schwartz and her crew were told to stop asking such questions.
This is actually, a conference that kind of celebrates the pharmacist, and we just really want to keep it focused on that.
What we found is that no one really knows how big the problem is, how many errors are made at pharmacies in this country each year. That's because, except in 4 states, drugstores are not required to report the mistakes they make, even in cases of serious injury or death. Shouldn't it be publicized?
I don't think so. I don't think it should be publicized.
The big drugstore chain said Mary Ann Wegner, the senior vice president of their Washington, D.C. trade group, would speak for them about prescription errors.
On behalf of our industry, I think there's a tremendous amount of concern about this.
She says the big chains are spending huge sums in new training and high-tech programs designed to prevent errors in the billions of prescriptions filled each year.
Patient safety is our #1 concern.
But you don't even keep track of errors?
No. We don't keep track of them.
So how can you say this industry is taking serious steps to prevent errors if they don't even know how big the problem is?
I don't, but I can tell you that the chains consider one error too many.
But they don't know how many there are.
That's
correct. It could
correct.
be 1, 1 million, 10 million? Do you have any idea?
I don't have any idea how many there are.
Redbird, what do you see?
In the case of Alexandra Gerke, a jury found Walgreens responsible and awarded $21 million in damages. But the pharmacist who admitted responsibility for the error, William Zeski, still works for Walgreens and is now the pharmacy manager at another nearby store.
Were you overworked that day, sir?
Pardon me?
Were you overworked that day?
Zeski declined to comment to 2020.
I did not believe that the pharmacist who made the mistake was an evil man. I believed he was overworked. I believe he was put in a position where it was physically impossible for him to verify everything.
Gil Ross is the lawyer for the Durkee family.
Walgreens appears to want each pharmacist to fill 350 prescriptions per shift. And in filling 350 prescriptions per shift, there is not enough time to do it.
That's what retired Walgreens pharmacist Bill Kennedy has testified in a number of court cases against Walgreens. He worked there 40 years and became the pharmacist union president. He says he was threatened with his job for taking too much time filling prescriptions.
Walgreens has always had a problem with me that I don't, quote unquote, keep up getting the prescriptions out in a timely manner.
You're slow.
I'm slow. And
is that true?
Yes, it is true, because I take the time to do what I think is the way to do the job properly.
And Kennedy told us that what most consumers don't realize is that not everyone who wears a white coat is a pharmacist. They're often what are called pharmacy technicians, who in many states can be as young as 16 years old.
Either working for a GED, or if they're still in school, working for their diploma.
Wait, 16 years old?
16 years old.
A high school student?
High school student.
Can be filling prescriptions?
Yes.
That happens?
All the time.
That's what happened in the case of Beth Hipley, an active mother of 3 in Lakeland, Florida. Her doctor put her on a blood thinner after beginning chemotherapy for a treatable stage 2 breast cancer. But Walgreens gave her pills that were 10 times the prescribed dose, 10 milligrams instead of 1. Her husband, Dean, recalls the nightmare.
I heard her screaming for help. And when I got up to go see what was wrong, she was on the floor in the bathroom at that time with severe head pain.
Beth suffered a massive stroke, which crippled her and forced her to stop her needed chemotherapy. As best she could, she described the pain of not being able to be a mother for her 3 children.
Growing up without me.
But it was only after they got a lawyer to sue that they found out what really happened. The error was made by a pharmacy technician who was a high school student, according to their lawyer, Karen Terry.
Her prior job had been cleaning a movie theater and serving popcorn. She had no high school diploma, and she's in the back of the pharmacy filling pill vials.
Questioned under oath in connection with the lawsuit, Janelle Banks admitted her error.
I should have typed it with 1 milligram.
And how did you type it?
With 10 milligram.
Should they be the people counting out the pills, filling out the forms? Can you really trust them?
Yes, if they're properly trained, we depend on them very heavily in our industry.
So when you're in a pharmacy and behind the counter there are these people in white coats, they're not all pharmacists.
Usually not.
As a Walgreens
The Walgreens pharmacist, who was supposed to double-check all prescriptions under the store's quality control system, was unaware of the tragic error until called to testify in the lawsuit.
The first person that you learned about the overdose and misfill from then was the attorney.
Yes.
3 years after the fact.
Yes.
She still works at Walgreens.
And so it's not just a regrettable error. This is an intentional, systemic drive for profits, for money. If it wasn't about that, they would hire more pharmacists, they would train their people, and they wouldn't be about opening more stores and more stores and more stores when they cannot staff what they have now.
Walgreens would not talk about the case of Beth Hipley and others, but says it deeply regrets the few errors that occur in the 500 million prescriptions they fill every year. The Hipley family's lawsuit against Walgreens goes to trial later this year. But Beth will not be able to testify about her anger at the giant chain that calls itself the Pharmacy America Trusts.
They have no right to make me live this way.
Beth Hipley died earlier this year. For the last 2 months, a team of 2020 producers has fanned out across 4 states to conduct an undercover test of a kind that no government agency has ever even tried. Testing 100 big chain drugstores for pharmacy errors.
Hi, I'd like to fill this.
Errors, the industry says, represent only a small percentage of the billions of prescriptions filled each year.
Yes, we're busy, but yes, we're also employing a lot of technologies and systems and processes to try to accommodate that.
We wanted to see if all that was working, to see if they would spot potentially dangerous interactions with prescription medicines and aspirin.
I'd like to get this together with that.
To see if busy pharmacists would take the time, as required by law, to offer counseling and information to customers.
What do I need to know?
To see, of the 100 prescriptions we had filled, how many, if any, would involve errors.
The drugs that are being dispensed there are more powerful and dangerous than ever before.
Professors Ken Barker and Betsy Flynn of Auburn University's School of Pharmacy designed our study as part of their ongoing research on how to help pharmacists overcome errors.
I hope they will see it as a wake-up call that it's intended to be, and that how serious this problem is and how widespread it appears to be.
Test number 1. Our producers were instructed to select a large bottle of aspirin and then take it to the counter. At the same time, they picked up a prescription for a blood thinner called Coumadin.
We wanted to have the pharmacist tell the patients that there was an important and serious drug interaction between the aspirin and the Coumadin.
She said, don't take aspirin.
And in 8 cases out of 25, pharmacists did spot the potentially dangerous combination and give warnings, including this one at a Walgreens store in Georgia.
There is an interaction between these medications.
Industry spokesperson Mary Ann Wagner said she was very pleased.
I would say they were doing the right thing there. And when there's an interaction between 2 drugs, that's serious. And when it's aspirin and Coumadin, that's definitely serious.
Can I put this on? Here.
But then we showed her what happened in the 17 other cases where there were no warnings at all that aspirin and Coumadin could be a dangerous combination.
Oh, can I ring this up also?
Yes.
Can I ring this up also?
Certainly.
Wagner was not so eager to talk about that part of the test. Does that speak well of your industry?
I don't know all of the circumstances surrounding it, Brian, so it would be hard for me to speak to that.
All of our test prescriptions were written as first-time prescriptions, meaning that under most state laws, unless the patient declines, pharmacists must talk with them about potential dangers or problems.
There's a lot of things you should know.
But we were only offered counseling in 27 out of 100 cases, less than a third. And some take it very seriously. One CVS pharmacist in New York City actually ran outside in the cold to ask us if we had any questions about our prescription.
Is this the first time you're taking it?
That was just outstanding. I hope he's not an isolated case.
Not isolated, but in 73 of the 100 test cases, almost 3/4, no counseling was given without prompting by us.
Well said.
Indeed, we discovered something that may come as a surprise to most drugstore customers, that we were being misled into signing away the right to counsel.
Okay. What am I signing?
That you received your medicine?
With only a few exceptions, we were never told that our signatures to show we had picked up a prescription were also being used to waive the legal right to counseling with a pharmacist.
This is just saying that you were here to pick up the prescription. Oh.
This is just that you picked it up.
What am I signing?
They're saying that you picked this up.
You're really signing that you're saying, I don't want counseling.
Bruce Berger, a department head at Auburn's pharmacy school, says the technicians may not know it, but they are, in effect, undercutting the law.
Verification that you picked up the prescription.
Make of it that they're deceiving the patient about what they're actually signing.
I have no idea why any of the folks in those films did what they did. I have no idea because I wasn't there.
Do you approve of that?
Brian, I wasn't there. Can't tell you if I approve or disapprove because I don't know the
It's
circumstances.
funny, when you see things you like, you think it's great. When you see things you don't like, you can't.
Well, I'm saying in general, I think making an offer is good. I think catching interactions is good in general. I think any kind of deception is probably not good.
The final tally of the 100 prescriptions we had filled was a huge disappointment for the professors. In no case were we given the wrong medicine, but the professors calculated an overall error rate of 22%. Too many or too few pills, faulty and missing instructions on the labeling, even the failure to put a child-proof cap on powerful medicine for bipolar disorder.
I'd hope things were better, but there is still a major problem there.
Went up the water spout.
None of it comes as news to the Gerke family in suburban Chicago. Alexandra is now 8 years old.
It dried up all the rain.
Her infectious laughter as she listens to her mother sing a nursery rhyme makes the error made by a Walgreens pharmacist all the more tragic.
Good job. And it breaks my heart because she can't do things with her brother that he wants her to do.
8 years after it happened, the Gerke family says it has yet to receive an apology from Walgreens.
You hurt people and you don't apologize. You don't say, yeah, we've made mistakes, we're sorry we've made mistakes.